Why did Maeve strikes a deal with Richie? Seraphina and Brendan sit down at a diner in Antwerp to negotiate with Samuel and Leonard. Seraphina wants to ensure that the person selling them the rubies doesn't take her and Brendan for granted, so she begins aggressively and doesn't stop even when Brendan tells her to stop because he fears she will ruin the business deal. Seraphina believes that both Samuel and Leonard are dubious, especially after Leonard states that the exchange will take place in a remote location. Seraphina's gamble pays off, as Leonard agrees to do the transaction on Seraphina's terms, so she calls Lorenzo, the only man in Antwerp who can arrange a team of armed guards in a matter of hours, after she leaves the city after a certain amount of money has been deposited just to make sure she is serious about the whole thing. She is certain that Leonard will agree to her terms, which are that the exchange must take place without the deposit money. Seraphina uses this costly arrangement as a justification to increase her profit-sharing percentage from 75% to 90% because Lorenzo's fee will be paid out of her own pocket. Brendan accepts to receive very little benefit from this entire situation since he is so eager to win Conrad over. Back in the Cotswolds, Maeve devises a scheme to sacrifice Brendan and Seraphina in order to defeat Richie in the war. Maeve's ideas scandalize Conrad, who is okay with the loss of a lady and a kid. Despite this, does Maeve still phone Richie and order him to kill Seraphina without touching Brendan's balding head? Not at all. Why does she do it, though? It's clear. Maeve despises Seraphina and adores Brendan. Seraphina is more important to Conrad than Brendan. Conrad will stop fiddling with his thumbs and might blow Richie to atoms with a rocket launcher or whatever else that will satisfy the situation if he finds out that Richie killed his daughter, Conrad and Maeve's spirits. Therefore, Maeve is prepared to put Brendan's life at danger and break up with Seraphina. Richie accepts the bait without inquiry and gives the Mexicans the command to pursue Brendan and Seraphina in Antwerp. I have some questions now. Is there really any reason why the Harrigans should pursue Richie? They killed Vron and Tommy even though they had no justification for doing so. Instead of going to Richie's house and killing him, why is Maeve still handling this like a game of chess? Furthermore, Richie didn't know where Seraphina and Brendan were until Maeve told him. Mobland Episode 6 Recap and Ending Explained. Are Seraphina and Brendan dead? Mobland's 5th episode focused on Tommy's wake and funeral, which was attended by Conrad, Maeve, Kevin, Bella, Eddie, Harry, and January. The Harrigans and Harry were expecting a bloodbath, but Richie prevented that, and the event was held in a fairly calm manner, with only Eddie and Maeve determined to rile up Vron, and when the old-timer clapped back at Maeve, the old-timer decided to turn the heat up immediately. However, Kevin calmed Maeve by putting sleeping pills in her champagne, and Conrad told Eddie to go home. At that point, Richie made the decision to confront the obvious. He was aware that Valjean was a scapegoat who had been set up by Harry to keep Eddie from receiving the justice he deserved for Tommy's death. However, he was prepared to overlook Eddie as long as he never left his home again. Later on, when Maeve came to her senses and remembered that she was roofied right after Vron insulted her, she seemingly gave Paul the green light to remotely detonate Vron's car, thereby killing her. Episode 6 of Mobland is all about the implications of that particular deed, and it also exposes what Seraphina and Brendan are up to with their ruby company. So, let's talk about it. Mobland Season 1 Episode 7 trailer, The Crossroads, will be released on Sunday, May 11, 2025. Mobland's 6th episode, which dealt with the aftermath of Ron Stevenson's dramatic murder, made clear how risky a conflict with an enraged and desperate Richie Stevenson would be. The Harrigans have been on the offensive thus far in the gritty crime thriller series, effectively starting a war with their long-standing enemies in the London criminal underworld. At Tommy Stevenson's wake and funeral, Mobland's 5th episode finally put the Harrigans on their heels, but they were able to get away with it because Richie effectively declared a truce with everyone but Eddie Harrigan. Immediately after, however, Richie's wife Vron was blown up as she turned on her car, compounding Richie's anguish and immediately demolishing any dreams of serenity. After Eddie and Maeve stupidly killed Tommy Stevenson, Kevin Harrigan and Harry de Souza spent the last 3 episodes attempting to create a lasting reconciliation, but a vengeful Maeve cancelled their efforts with a single phone call. That may have been a big mistake, as two Harrigans were already in Richie's crosshairs at the end of Mobland's 6th episode.